On October 7, 2023, Hamas militants launched a sophisticated and devastating attack on Israeli territory, targeting communication towers and military posts along the Israel and Gaza Strip border. The assailants, well-informed and coordinated, disabled critical defense systems, allowing them to infiltrate deep into Israeli land, resulting in over 1,400 deaths and the capture of 229 hostages during the attack. Israel's much-lauded security measures were outmaneuvered, revealing alarming vulnerabilities in the nation's defense. Despite the advanced smart wall, militants breached the border in a synchronized assault, overshadowing Israeli intelligence as they executed a meticulous plan, crippling the country's first line of defense and leading to catastrophic consequences. Israel is situated in a region fraught with geopolitical tension and has several adversaries in close proximity, the main being Iran. And to be quite blunt about it, Iran itself is a major problem. While Iran is seen as a regional nemesis due to its nuclear program, it also silently poses the largest combined threat to Israel with its proxy groups who carry out its dirty work in the region. The proxy groups start with Hamas, a Palestinian Sunni Islamic fundamentalist organization, primarily based in the Gaza Strip. This is the group that was responsible for the attacks in October of 2023. Another group in the Gaza Strip is the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. The PIJ is a smaller but still well-armed organization as well. Both groups have close ties and heavy support from Iran, especially in terms of weapons and funding. A recent report stated that a rocket fired by the Islamic Jihad group on October 17, 2023 suffered an engine failure and broke into two pieces, with the warhead striking a hospital parking lot in Gaza. Although intelligence states this was the PIJ, the international community is still debating on its validity. And then we have Hezbollah, based in Lebanon. They're the most potent and well-armed proxy, with a significant rocket arsenal capable of striking deep into Israeli territory. They have engaged in multiple conflicts with Israel in the past, most notably the 2006 Lebanon War. Also based in Lebanon and in Syria, we have the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine General Command. This group has been historically supported by Iran and has participated in attacks against Israel as well. And the final major proxy is officially known as Ansar Allah. This group is located in Yemen, and while their primary conflict is the Yemeni civil war, they espouse anti-Israel rhetoric and pose a potential threat to Israeli interests in the Red Sea. Yemen, through the Houthi movement, has expressed animosity towards Israel, aligning with Iran's stance. In fact, Yemen officially declared war on Israel as part of the 2023 conflict, and is working to ramp up its military operations with the use of ballistic missiles. It's easy to see, most of the obvious and immediate threats are spread primarily through Lebanon, Syria, Iran, Yemen, and Gaza, forming a strategic ring of Iranian influence and a continuous challenge to Israeli security. With Hezbollah's involvement from Lebanon, Israel faces threats from multiple fronts, straining its military resources. The situation becomes increasingly volatile as the prospect of Iranian-affiliated militias in Syria opening another front looms, potentially dragging Israel into a broader regional confrontation. This chain reaction can prompt new threats. For instance, militia groups in Iraq might consider launching their own attacks, seeing an opportunity amidst the chaos. And if Israel's retaliation somehow extends into Iran's territory, it risks a direct confrontation with them, potentially involving other nations and escalating into a far-reaching Middle Eastern conflict. In response to the growing tensions between Israel and Hamas, the United States has deployed two of its formidable aircraft carrier strike groups, consisting of the USS Gerald R. Ford, the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, and their convoy of battleships and submarines. They've been positioned in the Eastern Mediterranean as a robust display of force, aiming to deter further regional escalation. The presence of these carriers serves as a strategic deterrent, sending a clear message to any entity considering involvement in the hostilities. The USS Gerald R. Ford, the newest and most massive aircraft carrier in the American fleet, arrived in the area with over 5,000 personnel and the capability to host an array of more than 75 military aircraft, such as the advanced F-18 Super Hornet jets and the E-2 Hawkeye, which provides critical early warning surveillance. Equipped with a nuclear reactor, the Ford boasts a significant missile arsenal, including the evolved Sea Sparrow missile for defense against aerial threats like drones, and the advanced Phalanx close-in weapon system for short-range defense against airborne and surface targets. The Ford's supporting strike group comprises sophisticated guided missile cruisers and destroyers with comprehensive anti-air, anti-surface, and anti-submarine capabilities, significantly enhancing the carrier's strike and defensive posture. Meanwhile, the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, with a storied operational history dating back to the Gulf War, has also joined the Ford. This nuclear-powered vessel can carry a versatile mix of aircraft for various missions, including fighter jets and intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance platforms. Accompanied by its own coterie of powerful guided missile cruisers and destroyers, the Eisenhower adds to the formidable maritime presence the U.S. is establishing in the region. These carriers and their strike groups represent the pinnacle of United States naval power, capable of projecting force rapidly and with overwhelming might. In a volatile region, their deployment is a clear signal of the United States' commitment to stability and its readiness to respond to any expansion of the conflict that might threaten regional security. Amidst the current conflict, where Israel faces hostilities from Hamas and other Iranian-backed groups, lies another major economic problem. The Strait of Hormuz could spell disaster not only for the war, but for the entire planet. The Strait of Hormuz is a strategically crucial maritime choke point, linking the oil-rich countries of the Middle East with major global markets. Approximately 20% of the world's petroleum, nearly 21 million barrels per day, and 25% of the world's liquefied natural gas pass through this narrow strait daily. Its critical importance stems from the fact that it's the only sea passage from the Persian Gulf to the open ocean and is flanked by Iran and the United Arab Emirates. The strait is now a very likely flashpoint. The ongoing war has raised fears that the strait could be disrupted or intentionally closed, which would have immediate and far-reaching consequences for global energy supplies and prices. The region's volatility exacerbates the risk of the strait being targeted, whether for strategic blockade or as collateral damage, putting a significant percentage of the world's energy supply at risk. Let's take a closer look at the threat that Iran poses as well. Iran's missile program is one of the most sophisticated in the Middle East, characterized by a wide array of ballistic missiles with varying ranges and capabilities. Iranian missiles have shown a significant level of accuracy, attributed to advancements in guidance systems. Among the most notable is Iran's theater ballistic missile with a range of approximately 1,200 miles or 1,931 kilometers, which gives it the capability to strike targets throughout the Middle East, including Israel and U.S. military bases in the region like in Iraq and Syria. This long-range missile capability enables Iran to potentially deter adversaries through the threat of substantial retaliation. Moreover, Iran has been investing in enhancing the precision of its missiles. Reports and tests indicate that Iranian missiles can now achieve a high degree of accuracy, making them more formidable in targeting specific military and infrastructure sites. In addition to its missile arsenal, Iran has developed a robust cyber warfare program. Iranian cyber capabilities have been described as very advanced, with the ability to conduct espionage, disrupt critical infrastructure, and engage in cyber attacks against government and private sector systems. Collectively, Iran's combination of precise ballistic missiles and cyber warfare capabilities represents a multi-dimensional threat that can engage targets across the region and in the cyberspace domain, complicating defense strategies for Israel and the United States. If a confrontation against Israel unfolds, Iran might target critical infrastructure within major Israeli cities to undermine the nation's military defenses and economic stability. This conflict is almost certain to necessitate U.S. intervention in support of Israel. This scenario would see American forces focus initially on key Iranian assets like the nuclear facility at Natanz, which is central to Iran's uranium enrichment, and the military base at Bandar Abbas, which holds significant strategic value due to its proximity to the Strait of Hormuz. This is where it starts to get ugly, though. You know why? Because Russia won't sit around and watch the United States conduct aerial and naval muscle flexing in the region. The potential expansion of a hypothetical Iran versus USA conflict to include Russia would significantly escalate the stakes. Russia's entry into the war would elevate what might begin as a regional dispute into a far broader global confrontation. This conflict could very easily draw in other nations and increase the risk of a large-scale war, That would include countries around the globe, including any enemies of the United States who may view it as a great opportunity to cause some damage. China and North Korea could very easily be part of this group assault. Although it seems far-fetched, this scenario has an all-too-familiar historical parallel: World War I, which began as a regional conflict and escalated into a global war after Britain and other major powers slowly joined in. Similarly, if superpowers like the US and Russia were to become actively involved in a conflict between Israel and Hamas and their respective allies, it could potentially lead to a situation that you'd might as well call World War III. You're officially an explorer now, so make sure you subscribe and watch more top content from the channel by clicking a thumbnail.